You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's.
Welcome back to The Hardpoint, episode number 28. My name is Josh. I go by Onexpunchxdad online.
My name's Cody. I go by Code Rome's.
And welcome back to the premiere. The premiere two dudes talking about whatever comes up podcast.
Where did you pull that fly swatter from? That was not there right before we started recording.
It wasn't, but I was like, I need a prop, and so I picked this thing up. It's well needed. So we moved out to the country, and the bugs, let me just tell y'all, the bugs are out in force.
They be bugging.
My arms, the bugs be bugging, man. I don't know if it reads on the camera really well, but my arms, so I've been cutting our grass on this property. There's a lot of it, and we have a creek that runs through kind of the back portion. And the mosquitoes just feasted on me. Just ate me to bits, man. So my arms are like, I lay in bed at night and I'm just like.
Have they always been attracted to you? Have you always had problems with mosquitoes?
Yeah, they bite me for sure. It's weird because like I feel like each year they specifically attack a portion of my body. Like this year, they're definitely going for my arms.
Balls.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever gotten a bug bite on your wiener?
No, I've gotten like chiggers though. You get those on your balls.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had it like straight on the wiener, but
You sit in the grass or something.
dude, chiggers.
Yep.
Man,
Chigger
those-
sucks. Yeah.
They do suck. I don't really have an issue with mosquitoes, man. They don't bother me. They don't like me. No, I've been bitten by a mosquito before, but like when other people are complaining when I'm in that scenario, like, oh, so many mosquitoes out, I hardly notice them. Yeah, no, they don't fuck with me.
Maybe it's your
They know what it is,
fabrics.
man. They don't come up this way.
You don't want this blood. They do eat me up pretty bad, but like my wife gets real bad reactions from it. Like all of her bug bites swell to like 3 times the size of mine, so they're like little 2-inch bumps on her skin.
Man, that's okay. That to me is kind of like being allergic to bees. I feel like that would be terrifying because that's something that could kind of happen at any moment. You know, like nobody ever chooses to be stung by a bee or a wasp. And if you were allergic to that, that takes that very uncontrollable event up like 100 notches when it comes to fear. Like I don't know.
I was at a thing for some buddies who were retiring on Friday, and my buddy was there. He was rocking a shirt and cargo shorts, and I see these 2 like plastic, very like tactical looking tubes in his cargo pocket, and I was like, "What do you got there, man?" He pulled it out. It was 2 EpiPens. He is extremely deathly allergic to bee and wasp stings. So 37-year-old guy walking around with
That's crazy.
Dual wielding the EpiPens out here.
Have you ever been stung by a bee or a wasp?
Yeah. I used to landscape with with my mom in the summers.
Yeah.
Your mom actually, oddly enough, helped her out with that for a long time too. But yeah, man, we would be cutting grass, or I would bump the wrong bush with a lawnmower, and I got stung a couple of times, but it hurts. It definitely like I still don't want to be stung. Like I definitely, if one is doing that kind of like close pass, I'm definitely gonna give it kind of like the urgent like, ugh. I don't want it, but it's not gonna kill me, thankfully. Right. So
I hate saying this out loud because every time I do, I'm just asking.
You've never been stung, huh?
I've never been stung by a bee or a wasp ever. I don't know what that feels like.
Man. It's. I mean,
you
it's
know
painful.
what it is? You want to know why? It's because when they start doing that, the what is that called? The flight pattern around you.
The hover,
The hover. I stay calm. I just kind of like don't move.
Maybe that's the move.
Man, when you start swatting at them, that's what pisses them off. You just got to stand like a statue and, just give it the business. And it won't
give it the business. Yeah. You ever been like eaten up in an ant pile or anything or something like that? Or
certainly. Man, the trailer park we grew up in, at the very end of it, there was this like ditch that we used to jump our bikes over. And at the pit of said ditch was like a nasty fire ant pile or whatever. And I definitely wrecked in there and got eaten alive by fire ants. And it's the worst thing
hurts.
ever. Yeah.
That absolutely hurts.
Terrible.
Fire ants, no fun for sure. But I guess apparently I just learned this. Ants, when one bites you or stings you or whatever, they release like a pheromone into the air that's like, it's basically a roll call. Like, let's get this dude. And they all know to start biting you.
Wow. So that's why when it happens the first time, you're in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, it's ouch, pause, ouch, 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 ouch. Yeah.
Man, we have random ant piles that pop up like in our front planter. And there's nothing more satisfying than going and getting the bazooka can of ant and insect murder in a can and just dousing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, we've got wasp nests. We have kind of a big overhang on the outside patio, and so the wasps have already kind of indicated that that's where they want to be. So I've knocked a couple like dead nests down. They were itty bitty, but yeah, trying to stay vigilant because I don't know how I'm gonna handle like a big one. You know what I mean? I guess you could spray it and run. It's funny though because we moved into this house. And the previous owners left a lot of their stuff, just left it. They included it with the house. One of the things they left was a beekeeper suit.
No way.
Like a full-blown, yes.
Bro.
Like the hat with the net and the white, like, get-up. Yeah, beekeeping suit.
Your Halloween is covered this year, man.
I know.
You don't even need to think about it.
It's done.
Dude, okay. I was trying to figure out a way I was going to segue into the story at some point. I got a story on theme with previous owners leaving shit in a house that you bought. So me and my wife wanted to like redo our bedroom, right?
Right.
Just kind of redo like the curtains, the furniture, got a dresser, new nightstands, bedding on the bed, all that stuff, right? Just kind of completely redo it. With the baby, we're going to be spending quite a bit of time in there, so we were like, let's make a point to get it nice, cozy. Let's get it the way that we want it because we're going to be spending a lot of time in there. So we have curtains in that room. There's the curtain rod, right? And then just like the things that go on the wall. And we wanted to replace the rod and the curtains. So no big deal, one would think. I have a ladder. I have all the basic tools. So we're redoing the room. I get up there. I take the rod off. And so now I'm just left with the hooks in the wall, right? And each of them have two screws. You got the top screw and the bottom screw. So I'm starting left to right. On the far left, I take the bottom screw out, no big deal. Top screw comes out, but it gets to a point where it's no longer coming out. And it's loose, just like I can do this. But
spinning in place.
Yes, there's seemingly something on the other side of the wall preventing it from coming out all the way. So I'm like, that's weird. And if that's not bad enough, I also can't tighten it back. So I just have this hook on the wall that's loose, but I can't get it off. So I'm like, okay.
Can't get it out.
Right.
Can't put it back in.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I moved to the next hook. Same thing. Next hook, same thing. Next hook, same thing. So I'm
what
like,
did they do?
What did this asshat do to make these things not be able to come out from the wall?
Is it those little plastic like gripper things that are in there? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Those are like drywall, like you put those in first and then put the screw, right? For drywall stuff. Not that.
Right.
So what I end up having to do is ripping these things through my fucking drywall, making holes like dollar metal, whatever, like whole dollar piece size things in my wall. And it's the worst noise ever because I'm having to bend it that way, bend it that way, bend it that way. And I'm at like the top rung of this ladder trying to rip shit out of the wall. And it's the worst noise ever. And here just comes all this drywall falling all over my floor. And I rip it out. And it's one of these things where you put it through a hole like this and then it expands. And it doesn't come back this way. So as you tighten it, that pulls against the other side of the drywall, and then you tighten it this way. So it's basically, you can't get it out once you put it in.
Very, very permanent solution for something that really shouldn't be permanent.
Exactly. And my wife was like, no wonder they left those curtains there when they sold the house and we moved in. And I'm like, we should have told them everything needs to be out, because that would have put him in the position of either having to like compensate us for that or figure it out himself. But the fact that 2 years later, we're just now getting around to doing it, there's nothing we can do.
So is it like offset enough where you can maybe conceal it with the new curtain rod, or it's like 2 gaping holes in your wall now?
I wouldn't say they're big, but I was able to get basically the same method. Okay, you know what? I just called this guy out, and I just realized that I kind of did the same thing. There's no other way to like fasten those hooks up there, so I had some. They're really handy. Like if you ever rip like a tower, a towel hook out of the wall or something like that, these are what you should put it back with, because they go through and then they open and then you can tighten it. So I did that basically. I put them in there, and the hole is definitely bigger than the hook, but once you kind of close the curtains and everything, it's so high up there you can't tell the damage that was done. Man, ripping stuff out of your drywall when you're trying to do it like carefully so you don't screw anything up that bad.
Nerve-wracking.
It's a really weird thing. Yeah. So fuck that guy who left that stuff in there. That was really messed up of you, man.
Yeah, that's a pain. I did find out. So yesterday, trying to get the kids like to their baths, they got a nice clawfoot tub in the upstairs bathroom, and then just a tile floor. So my youngest son goes in there, and he's 7. He's a kid, so he's in there. He's playing. He splashes water onto the tile floor in that upstairs bathroom. I'm in the bedroom chilling, and all of a sudden, one of my kids comes and is like, "Dad, there's water dripping from the light fixture in the living room."
Oh.
Yep.
That water and near light, not bad
I was very distressed, very upset. So come to find out, those tiles in there aren't perfectly like sealed. So if water gets in them and goes between the tiles and the floor, or the tile and the trim, it will leak. And so luckily it wasn't bad. It wasn't a ton of water.
Right.
It was enough to drip drop. So I got up there with some caulk, my caulking gun, and kind of sealed it up a little bit. Doesn't look perfect, but it's good enough, I think. But nothing more. I was in a panic because I was like, that's going to short out and burn my house down. Absolutely not acceptable. So hopefully crisis averted. I'm going to get up there and really just kind of seal that joker off as best I can, because I ain't trying to mess with an electrical short or anything.
Caulking low-key harder than you think it would be. I've had
it really is
a caulking experience recently myself. Very hard. Mine was actually like the clear sealant, like the
silicone or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That shit, it looks like shit, dude. I mean, there ain't no water going to get through it, but it looks horrible, the job I did. And I tried to do a good job.
I got down because there's certain parts where I couldn't even get the gun all the way back behind the tub, the base of the tub.
Right.
So it literally was like onto the finger and like smushing it into this like corner where I couldn't reach. And then I had to get it off my hand because, of course, it's like very extremely tacky. So dude, I got it all off, but it was...
The first time I had to do that, I just got it's the tube that you cut and then you squeeze. It wasn't the gun, right?
Right.
Well, I go to squeeze it the first time and it splits down the middle of the tube all onto my hand. And I didn't know you weren't really supposed to get that on your hand. So I just proceed because I had just started basically. So I'm squeezing this thing and it's going, by the end of it, it's all over my hands.
Yeah.
And it took me 30 plus minutes. My wife has this like scrub.
Yeah.
It has like the rocks in there or whatever. I was like, I need that because soap wasn't doing it. It was starting to scare me a little bit, man. I could not get it off.
This is my life now.
I'm like the Spider-Man thing where I hit something and it just sticks to my hands.
Oh no.
Dude, it took me forever to get off. And I had a moment of panic of like, because the instructions are like, if it makes contact with your skin, get it off immediately. And I'm like, we're past contact.
We're way past that. Damn, man. Crisis averted, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. yeah, also putting together. I feel like every move in, I've got to have some kind of like battle of wits against a bunk bed. I did put together a bunk bed today. I will say it's one of those. It's probably from Amazon or IKEA. It's got those little the hex screws, right?
Yeah.
Not a Phillips head. I hate hex head screws, man. They strip so easy.
Yeah.
And they always say, like, you're not supposed to use a drill. You got to use that little, like, 2-inch tool that comes with them. I ain't putting a bed together with that little L.
No.
Little metal. Yeah. I'm using my drill. But they strip so easy, man. God, I hate putting bunk beds back together, man.
Man, I'm overbuilding stuff with the nursery. I experienced the greatest thing ever. I realize this is a luxury and it's not always practical, but all the new furniture that we ordered in our bedroom, the dresser and the side tables, were pre-built. They weren't come in a box and you build it yourself. They were like, they arrived and they were already built, and it was great, man. It was great.
That's the move, man. That's the way to do it, dude. Our furniture's so beat up. You saw it when we were moving, man. It's just like so many moves. Even a decent piece of furniture is gonna start getting beat up after a while, man. It's a pain. Oh. Anyway.
There's move talk for you.
There's move talk. We're moving right along. You ready for what are you crushing?
I'm ready. I hope I have boy. Hit the theme, Expo.
The theme?
What are you crushing? What are you crushing?
Is it like a Looney Tunes? Like a
I don't know. I was riffing there, man.
All right.
I was riffing. I was trying to buy time so I could remember what I've been crushing. I know you usually throw it to me first, but I'm gonna volley back to you.
Oh, he parried.
I'm gonna parry.
He countered.
What have you been crushing, my man?
So we kind of talked a little bit about it off pod. I'll say this first. I am still continuing my Fallout 4 playthrough. Having a good time with that. I'm playing as the wife. I like playing as the wife. The husband's kind of a deadpan to me. He's really boring. So I am playing as the wife, and I did start the Brotherhood of Steel storyline. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of liking like I like it, as with Skyrim too. You can kind of have your character have like a meaningful journey. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, the main character in Fallout 4, not knowing any better, would probably want to initially join forces with the strongest seeming faction.
Sure.
So I went directly to the Brotherhood of Steel, but I think what I'm going to have my character do later on is join one of the other factions and betray the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh,
so,
okay.
More to follow on that. More to follow on that.
So you can play as you can play as the mom or the dad in Fallout. Is that what you just said? Yeah. So if you play as the dad, which is the only one I've played, you go in that bunker and everybody gets frozen. You know, they didn't know they were going to be, and then the baby gets taken and the wife gets killed. If you play as the wife, is it the exact same thing, just flipped?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
The husband takes the baby. The husband takes the baby into his pod. He gets shot, and you go looking for the baby.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yep. It's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Did you start a new game, or did you just start? Okay.
Brand new game, brand new playthrough. It's going good. I'm enjoying it. I really want to kind of see it to its at least the main story quest completion. I'm probably not going to run around and do all the Radiant quests like go to this town, get this thing. You know, may not do everything, but coming off the heels of the show, felt like I at least wanted to walk around in that world for a little bit.
What difficulty are we talking?
I think it's just on like normal. Yeah, I'm not running it super crazy. I'm kind of like you when it comes to video games. Like, I do enjoy a little spice, but not so much that it's like, all right, I'm playing this for the story and to enjoy it.
Right.
I don't want, running across like a group of dudes that are just too many or too high powered to like bring the story to a screeching halt. So I have really no shame about cranking it down, honestly.
No, I don't either. You got to find that sweet spot where it's not so easy that it's boring.
Yeah.
But it's not so hard that you're having to like replay everything. You know, you just can't progress.
Yeah.
It was a sweet spot.
Yeah. It's easy to get stuck if you go to the wrong place too early in that game without the right gear. So I was just kind of like, screw it. Let's just get the story and blaze through it. I'm not streaming it for anyone. It's just for my own personal enjoyment. So felt like the way to do it. But anyway, yeah, playing Fallout 4 again. Didn't really start any new shows, but, and I know if you're listening, you probably remember, what was it, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago now, we had kind of our initial impression moment with a band that is since kind of like, I thought they were blowing up then. They have essentially just catapulted into the stratosphere at this point. But I got back onto Sleep Token this past week.
So good.
They had been, it's amazing how like seeing them on Instagram and TikTok will kind of open my eyes to, and this is really true of other bands too, but it really kind of opens your eyes to the coolness of these bands.
Yep.
In a way that maybe just hearing it, organically out in the wild, might. But God, they're so fucking cool, man. They really, I know a lot of dudes are probably going to roll their eyes at this. I am having such a love affair with this band right now, and it is almost completely with the second half of their latest album, Take Me Back to Eden. We were just talking about Rain being a really good track, Take Me Back to Eden, which is the title track. Euclid, which is the last track on the album, starts off and you think you're about to hear like a Dolly Parton song almost. It is one of the most gut-wrenchingly beautiful songs I've heard in so long. It is so, that album ends on such a hopeful note.
Right.
It is, it's so good, man. That's the one.
Yeah, man. That's
Yep.
probably a terrible rendition, but you're right, man. The first half, middle third are all great, but the most recent kind of time I had with them, I would start with Rain. You know what? Yeah. Actually, if you back up 2 songs, The Apparition, have you listened to that front to back? Like, have you had a moment with that song yet?
I think I've definitely run the album start to finish a couple of times now, so I've certainly listened to it. The one after that, which is just letters, I don't remember what the letters are.
Do you wish that you love me? It's
Do you wish that you love me?
T-Y-L-M, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. That one I really, really like, but maybe I need to back it up and hit The Apparition a couple of times as well.
Go one previous, man. Start your second half of the album with The Apparition, because it's one of these where it starts slow, but by the end, it's so massive. And like the synth is going in the background, and he kind of doubles back the chorus, but for one more time, where it's more epic. I feel like that's one of the most underrated songs on the album. I haven't heard anybody talking about it, and it's one of my favorites. It's great. And then Rain, Take Me Back to Eden, and how'd you say that last one? Euclid. Okay, yeah, that one's fire too.
Yeah.
But man, Rain and Take Me Back to Eden are so powerful.
So Take Me Back to Eden is kind of what spurred this, because it's a trend on TikTok right now. That song is it's popping right now. I'm gonna say this is kind of odd, but dude, Vessel, women are going nuts for this guy. If you find Sleep Token on TikTok, jump in the comments, dude. The women are literally barking for this man. Yep. Like they are pulling up for my man Vessel.
And we don't even know what he looks like. Have you gone into the rabbit hole of like who they are or what who they're suspected to be?
The most common answer I can find, and I say answer because there's literally like 2 or 3 pictures of a guy named Leo Faulkner.
Yep.
Who kind of a wiry, young looking guy. He looks like he's maybe not quite 30, legit.
Right.
Kind of a wiry, not ugly or anything, but he's not striking, you know what I mean?
Very unassuming. Just kind of a very average, generic guy.
Yes, very British looking. It's funny if you look at him and you realize he's British. You're like, yeah, I could see that. But that is supposedly who Vessel is supposed to be. It's supposed to be this Leo Faulkner guy.
Right.
I will tell you, I'm a straight man. I don't necessarily have any like romantic feelings for this dude, but he's so cool looking, man. Like he's got the long duster with like the armor on the arm, open. He looks like he's in decent shape. You know what I mean? He's usually covered in this like dark black paint or whatever, and this mask that conceals his face in just the right way that almost makes it look like it's part of the reason he sings and sounds the way he does, like the way he forms his consonants when he's singing.
Like a slight restriction by the mask. A little bit,
yeah, maybe, or something like he can't move his lips. You know, like when it gets really cold outside and your speech kind of slurs a little bit. Yeah, it's almost like he's doing that on purpose to kind of like obfuscate how he normally talks or would sing. So anyway, yeah, Sleep Token is absolutely like shot to the top of my everything right now. I've been listening to him while I cut grass. I listen to him in the car. I'm trying to get my kids hyped on it. I'm like, look, this is really, it's got some heavy parts, but it's got some really pretty parts. So, but yeah, I'm in my Sleep Token era for sure.
I love the Sleep Token moment. I feel like when we did this segment last, like what you're feeling is what I was trying to convey at that point. Like I feel like I've had some emotional experiences listening to some of these songs, man. Like at the peak swells, and at some of the more just like beautiful parts, heartbreaking parts, dude, it's unlike anything I've ever listened to.
It is, man. It's very atmospheric.
There, yeah,
very moody. There's certain songs like like Ascensionism, which is really kind of more like moody and got a lot of the funky stuff in it. Like, I don't know, man. I could keep on talking about Sleep Token, but yeah, they're definitely. I'm cranking Sleep Token right now.
They
Not
got
cranking
it. I feel like they have one skipper on this album. I skip it every time. It's not necessarily a bad song, but it's just not my jam. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have one skipper on this?
I'm trying to think. I don't love Granite, but I'll let it play.
Yeah.
Honestly, Granite's pretty good. Love Aqua Regia.
That one's smooth. Yeah, love that one.
That one's real smooth. The one after that one might be kind of a skipper to me, actually. I can't remember what it's called.
There's one called Are You Really Okay?
Okay, yeah.
It's just
I do remember that.
Slow. And I don't even, it's not that it's slow that I don't like it. They have probably slower songs on that album. I just don't dig it. And funny enough, I'm looking at it right now on Spotify, and that song has, by a significant margin, the least amount of spins of any track on that album. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. First is The Summoning by far. That's kind of what shot them up, right? Originally was The Summoning. That second, or kind of that third act of the song where it completely changes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that one. Granite's good. Vor is good. I like Vor a lot.
Yeah. One of their heavier ones.
Yeah. Yeah, The Summoning's definitely like, I'm hearing that quite a bit too. The end part of that. Seen a lot of reacts to that one. Mm-hmm. It's so funky, man. It's so like, I just would love to, well, obviously everyone would love to be in the room, but like, just like, and then we're going to do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just shift gears completely. So
I love it, man.
That's what I'm crushing. What are you crushing?
So these are both kind of weird, unorthodox things. One, it's actually funny. It has to do with Sleep Token. It's not Sleep Token. And I think I even showed you these types of videos one time when you were down here hanging out. But on YouTube, there's a specific niche of videos where it's kind of like reaction videos to songs. But I guess an even nichier version inside that niche would be like high-level music producers, composers, classical, like music guys that will listen and dissect different types of songs. They might be heavier metal songs. And I watched a couple of, one was like these hip-hop guys. There's these two like hip-hop producers that were listening and reacting to Sleep Token songs. And it's really cool because they were loving it, man. Like they were digging it because they have a lot of parts of Sleep Token is kind of hip hop inspired with the beats.
Yeah.
There's the smoothie jazz stuff, and you know,
who made you like this? Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he's pretty much doing like mumble rap. You know what I mean,
dude? There's a couple parts where he's rapping and like auto tune kicks in. I forgot what song it was even. I forgot where it is, but I think it was Rain. There's a part where he's like na 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 na, and it's like auto tune over it. They loved it, man. And as I can like really appreciate a song, but watching somebody break down a song and go crazy over it, that might not even be their main type of music, will really take your appreciation of something to the next level.
That is really fun to watch.
It's really cool, man. And there's this other guy, I don't even remember his handle, but he's like a classical music composer and producer. And then I got in a little rabbit hole of watching him watching him listen to like old Metallica songs or like newer metal music, you know, and hearing him kind of gush over the musicianship of some of these bands that you and I just like to crush in the gym, you know, or whatever, is really cool. You know, it's really cool seeing somebody that can break it down in a way that I can't really, he can understand something that I can't, but break it down in a way that makes sense to me is really fun. So I guess just reaction videos in general are kind of fun to me.
I think my favorite ones in those vein are specifically like vocal coaches or like opera singers often will do reactions to. I don't think I've seen one specifically for like Sleep Token, but I've seen a couple for Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box where I can't remember if it was a vocal coach or an opera singer was kind of, she keeps a piano there. And so when the artist sings a particular note, she'll kind of find it and be like, "Oh my gosh, look at the jump there!"
Right.
So those are kind of fun to watch for me. I'm getting to where, man, I love screaming. I will say some of my least favorite parts on Sleep Token's latest record are the screaming parts.
Yeah.
I mean they're not bad. He's not a bad. He doesn't have bad gutturals or anything, but I'm there for the melody.
Yeah.
At this point, I
it's
think
not their strong suit. I do like the contrast. I think some of the melody stuff stands out a little bit more because there are some heavier parts on there, but I don't think that's not their main forte, the screams. But
absolutely.
I agree. So
yeah, those are fun.
They are really fun. And that's kind of all I got, honestly, this week.
Crushed it.
Everybody sucks. Anus.
All right. So this week I wanted to talk about something that I think if you had told me that things like this were going to be happening back in, say, 2006, 2010, even 5 years ago, which is 2019, that's bonkers.
That is wild.
I don't think I would have believed you. So I will open it up with this very odd, doesn't sound like it's true piece of 2024 trivia, which is this. The hardcore metal band Knocked Loose is currently trending on Spotify higher than Taylor fucking Swift.
That's crazy. They've kind of, since they've jumped on the scene, they've just kind of like, I don't know, man. I remember when they were brand new and their first like EP they released was Laugh Tracks. I think there was one before that had like the dog on the cover. I don't remember. But they were like headlining this festival. And I remember Vincent Bennett of the Acacia Strain. I was listening to a podcast with him and he kind of said it jokingly. He wasn't really trying to take a dig, but he's like, this fucking band is headlining and their just entire discography is like 5 songs. Like they don't have a lot of music out. You know, you could count on like 1 or 2 hands the amount of songs they have, and yet they are so popular and headlining all this stuff and all over social media with like no material. And so from their inception, man, they've kind of been bigger than anything.
So here's why this is odd to me. it's not, and I don't think Knocked Loose is a bad band. I want to be forthright. I've never been a huge Knocked Loose listener. I love, I can't even remember what it's called right now. I love the Arf Arf song, right?
Mm-hmm. Counting Worms.
You know, Counting Worms, right? I had that at number one on my gym playlist for a long time. It was a good brain mental cue that the party was about to start. We were about to be lifting heavy with a ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
So I love that. Knocked Loose in the scope, and this isn't necessarily, I'm not queuing it up to be a Knocked Loose conversation. It's more of a conversation about how much farther into the forefront this music is coming as of late. You know, we talked about Sleep Token for a while. They're a part of that too, I think. Mm-hmm. But heavy music is having a very, very strange moment right now, societally. I mean, especially like, and the thing about like Knocked Loose in particular, to me, that's interesting, they're not overly like computerized when you listen to them.
They have a pretty raw sound.
Exactly. Like another band I think that is also having one of these like huge, huge moments is Kubla Khan, Kubla Khan TX, however you want to say it. And they have almost no electronic production that is apparent. They have very natural sounding drums. Their guitar is not overly like effects driven or anything like that. It is straight up just like mosh city after mosh city.
Right.
Very like raw sounding music, and people are going bananas for it online, man.
I think that's cool. I mean, we've been a fan of this for a long time. You even longer than me. You're the one that introduced me to everything. Is Knocked Loose trending for a specific thing, right? I know they just released an album. Is there anything like a specific part on a specific song or?
So they have the song that just came out, and I forget what it's called. I could probably check it if I had my phone. Oh my God, just knocking everything around here. They put out a song with Poppy, who for a long time wasn't like a heavy music personality, but she made a song a couple months ago with Bad Omens, called VAN, or Violence Against Nature. That one's gotten I've seen a lot of TikTok coverage of that being performed live. And then Suffocate with Knocked Loose. Thank you. The only thing that makes this song unique, and have you listened to it?
I have not, no.
So it has a breakdown in it. And it's like the big one where they like everything stops and they go suffocate, and then they do a breakdown. Okay. The breakdown is not the typical cadence of a breakdown. It is literally like, you know how reggaeton music is like a dun ga dun ga dun ga dun ga dun.
Right.
It's that. Like that's the drum cadence of this breakdown. So it's like down ga down ga down ga down. And it's actually high key, like really fun.
I'm playing it right now.
I don't think let me
can
know
hear
what
it.
you think, man. It kind of catches you off guard a little bit.
Who is Poppy?
Poppy's, I think she was like a YouTuber for a long time. She acts really like odd and aloof. She has big like anime e-girl vibes.
Okay.
I don't know a ton about her other than she has started showing up as a feature on, bands like Bad Omens, Knocked Loose. I think she did something with another band at some point. I can't remember who they were. Yeah. Yeah. And what's crazier is they even have like the Saint Anger snare on that part. It's like the trash can snare. Right. And it actually kind of works in this case.
Yeah.
So it's very strange to me, man. All these bands, even Metallica. Metallica has like a TikTok trend going right now.
Yeah.
It's footage. Well, it started with footage, but it's people using the sound. And it's, I cannot remember what show it was from, but Jason was in the band, so it had to have been probably 80s, early 90s. And it starts off with James on the mic, and he's like, "What the fuck is that sound?" and then it cuts to Newstead, he starts like putting around on the bass, and then they play "For Whom the Bell Tolls." But that's like everywhere right now, and I'm like,
crazy how social media can just revive a moment in time that was 30 years ago.
It is, man. And what's great about this is, I think, so in the case of Kublai Khan, so Matt Honeycutt and I are Instagram friends, and we've spoken a little bit on there. We've never met in person. I hope to change that someday, but he's a really nice guy. And I messaged him about it. And I was like, dude, because they don't have a TikTok, I think. Or if they do, they're not on there like posting and promoting a lot.
Right.
But I messaged him. I was like, dude, are you aware that you guys are fucking exploding on TikTok right now? And he was like, yeah, I've heard. And he was kind of indifferent about it. But what's cool about that is the band made no effort whatsoever to blow up on TikTok. They don't even have, like, post on the account. Literally the word of mouth, or the word of video, like footage from their concerts, is what is catapulting them right now. Right. And that to me is cool, because I think that the byproduct of that is we're gonna see hopefully more live music, heavy live music bands popping up through this. Yeah.
And that's right in line with, if you make a good product, people will find it. They're not even out there pushing those live videos onto TikTok, but just the fact that it's good, people will find it and they'll put it out there for you. And it's all about the content. You got, make good stuff, and it will find its way to the people.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like again, back to Sleep Token. I think I'm kind of on Sleep Token TikTok now. Like I'm like, they are definitely being shown to me by the algorithm at this point. But I was scrolling the other day, and it was concert footage, like right front row of Vessel. He's kind of goofy on stage. He acts, he's kind of moves around, like occasionally he'll like wave or, do something. And of course everyone is like falling apart over it.
Right.
But I saw like a scene, and then I scrolled up one video, and it was literally the exact same moment shot from a different angle. And I was like, whoa, how did that happen? But it's people that are coming to these shows and having such an exciting experience watching these excellent bands. Like I'm so glad I get to be. I'm getting to where I'm like going to be the old guy pretty soon. And I'm so glad to be in the current music era and not going like, oh man, it was so much better back in 2006.
Right. Back in my
day.
So
much better back in my day. I fucking love what's going on.
Yeah.
I loved all the music I grew up on when I was a teenager, when I was a young man, but God, not everything. Most of what is coming out right now that people are kind of flocking to is legitimately good.
Yeah.
At least good for a track or two. And it's so cool to see it not just happening in the underground on the back burner. It's happening very much like on the public stage, and that's very cool. And
I mean, the fact that Knocked Loose was playing Coachella, I mean, that's a whole thing. That's so wild.
I might have been Coachella or Burning Man. I don't really keep up with those, but I know they played Coachella, and freaking Billie Eilish was backstage like bopping to them.
She likes them, from what I've heard. She's a fan of Knocked Loose. And Brian Garris, the lead singer, I've actually met with him. I have a picture with Brian at one of his shows. Yeah, it was back in the day, man. I had a moment with Knocked Loose when Laugh Tracks, their first album, that I think I called it an EP earlier. It was their first album. They had one EP prior. But when that came out, I loved them, man. I loved Knocked Loose, and they were playing tiny little clubs at that point.
Yeah.
And they came through Dallas, and I bought a Knocked Loose shirt that I still have, went to the show by myself, and had a fucking ball, man. My phone got kicked out of my hand 2 times that night by people jumping off the stage, and I found it both times. One time it was laying on the stage. Another time it was laying face down on the ground, and I found it like 15 minutes later. But went outside to probably smoke a cig or something, and there was fucking Brian and that girlfriend that he's still with were just sitting right there behind the merch table, like working it themselves. I was like,
oh yeah,
holy shit. And I went up to him and talked to him for a second, took a picture. If I remember when I'm editing, I'll flash it up right now. I remember him not being in the greatest mood, but Can't knock them, man. I think those dudes are on the road a lot. You're probably grinded to a fucking, you know,
a nub.
Yes, a nub at that point. Like I don't hold it against him, but yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. I liked Knocked Loose in the very beginning, and I don't not like them now. I kind of moved away from them a little bit, but it is cool to see them doing very well and so big. Spirit Box is another one. They're not, you know, as hardcore as them or Kubla Khan, but they're kind of blowing up right now too. They're pretty big on social media.
Absolutely. I think, you know, and another great band, like people, like all of these bands, because they're getting so big, have a strong contingent of people who are doing the old guy thing, right? Like, oh, this ain't metalcore, it's not what it used to be. This ain't hardcore, it's not what it used to be. Or, you know, I'm there for it, man.
Don't be a hater.
I don't care. Don't be a hater.
Put down that
and if you
hater
don't, I will tell you, as someone who used to be wicked elitist about music, man, like I spent a lot of certainly my 20s, like if you liked Nickelback or Linkin Park or Stained, I was going to make fun of you for that because I hate those bands. I don't like those bands. I stand by that, but I've gotten away from knocking people who are into it because people can have very emotional experiences with a fucking 21 Pilots song or... Right. You know, I'm sure there's an Imagine Dragons track out there that's got people crying on a weekly basis. I haven't heard it, but I'm not going to knock it because I know objectively, at least for many years now, the music I get down on is probably a lot more challenging for people to enjoy.
Sure.
Although seemingly not, because it's again, like Bad Omens, another case of like a band that I think maybe 10 years ago would have been considered fringe. They would have been underground, you know. Now they're...
What's his name? Noah Sebastian. That guy is actually... have you read anything about him or watched any interviews? Do you know anything about him?
Nothing like extensive or anything.
So they're blowing up, and he's very much like... you talk about another guy that the women are just kind of throwing themselves at, and he's very... like, wants nothing to do... with the fame like that. Like, I don't even think he has like an Instagram or an online presence at all. Like, I think he's kind of like, they were making music and they blew up and he kind of went like, whoa, I don't know about all that. I don't want all that. You know, so they're still touring, making music, but I think he is very much like, I like my privacy. I don't want to be sexualized by, you know, all the women. Like, that's just not what I'm here to do. Seems like kind of a cool guy and he looks badass. Yeah. He's got a look to him that is pretty cool to me.
Definitely. And a great vocalist, man. Really, you know, just very talented. Another one that's kind of a weird one for me, and I don't think I asked you about this song, but Falling in Reverse did a song with Tech Nine and the dude from Slaughter to Prevail, Alex Terrible. Is that his name?
Yeah.
So they put out a track together.
Really?
And I need to be clear. I don't much care for Ronnie Radke. I think this dude there's always some kind of drama centered around this dude. He seems to have a lot to say about musical artists around him. And
the opposite of Noah Sebastian that I just described.
Yes. There's just an element of pot stirrery that I don't really get down with. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I think
douche.
maybe it's a persona that he's doing. Like, he's very much like he's putting out like a wrestler might, you know what I mean? Like a heel in wrestling who's like pretending to be a dick. I'm sure he's a nice guy. And I don't really throw down for Falling in Reverse, but this track is wildly good. It's really, really good. There's a part with Alex Terrible. Tech Nine does this really great rap that leads into like a really cool breakdown. Blew me away.
What's it called?
Absolutely.
I'm going to add it to my playlist right now.
I think it's called Ronald. Ronald.
Does it have his face on the... Yeah, okay, here it is. I saw that. I thought that was their new album. I didn't know that was a song. Here it is. Ronald, Falling in Reverse, Tech Nine, Alex Terrible. Added. Okay.
Yep. I do believe it is a single. I don't know if
it's his mugshot. It's the cover.
There you go. Oh, Ronnie.
Let's see.
Oh, Ronnie the Rascal.
I'll go ahead.
Odds that he'll see this pretty low, but no shade intended. He does seem to get into it with people a lot, but that is what it is, I guess. That can certainly color my impression too. Like if you hear a famous person is a dick, or if they are constantly like embattled, then it's like
the Amir,
I think that's
what's the Amir lead singer?
Oh man, you're quizzing me. I've heard Palmieri.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
people too big a fan of his.
Yeah, he's one I think, and again, Amir, great band. I love MBK, but I think that's why like the Sleep Tokens of the world are interesting to me, because they not only are they like rejecting the fame piece, but they are straight up like essentially taking them as people out of the equation of their rise to fame. Like they can absolutely still go to the grocery store.
How do you feel about that? Like I think that's an interesting topic. How you're pulling off that operation. They're a big band with a big production piece. And how are you going city to city with those guys? Like there's got to be communication between them and the crew and the venue. Like I just don't understand how has that not really gotten out yet, I guess. I know there's leaks and stuff or whatever we were talking about earlier, like guesses. But how is that not... How can you stay concealed today? That seems so crazy.
My thing is, as they... Oh, sorry. I keep doing that. I'm not used to sitting at my desk, so keep bumping a lot of pops on the recording this week. As they rise to prominence, I feel like their ability to do that is going to get less and less. Think about Ghost. Ghost used to be completely incognito. All the members were secret. Papa Emeritus was very much like it was not known that it was Tobias Forge or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Now he's out there as Tobias Forge. Like, yeah, I'm the lead singer of Ghost.
Right.
Like he's 100% out there. Sia, another one. She's, the pop artist who's sings like I'm going to swing from the chandelier or whatever. Yeah. She used to cover her face for live performances. She didn't appear in any of her music videos. If she ever did anything, she would wear the wig that would like cover her face. Now she's out there, right? She's just in the public eye. Sure. I feel like if Sleep Token continues to rise the way they have, either one or two things are going to happen. That's going to get too cumbersome for them, and they're just going to be like, you know what? Forget it.
Fuck it. Yeah.
My name is Jack. You know what I mean? Or two, enough people are going to take a high enough level of interest that they will be photographed. Mm-hmm. At least, like, he's going to get a picture taken of him with his mask off, and he's probably got the paint on or something like that.
Because I'm thinking, like, when they arrive to the new city, they're not getting off their bus dressed like that.
No.
And when they're backstage chilling in their green room, they're probably not dressed like that. Like, I feel like they interact with a lot of people on a day-to-day basis outside of being on the stage when they're not dressed like that. That stuff looks cool. It also looks really uncomfortable. I would want to be dressed in that for as short amount of time as possible.
They're on the festival circuit right now, dude. Can you imagine playing a festival they were just in Dallas, right? You were telling me about that in, let's say, July. Let's bump it up 2 months.
Right.
You're wearing a trench coat, even without a shirt on, and pants. The other members, like, there's no suns out, guns out, and Sleep Token. Like, they're pretty well and truly covered. Wearing a baklava for the musicians of the band, you know what I mean? Like
the black paint's really interesting too. I don't know what it is and what it takes to put that on and what it takes to put it off, but I feel like no matter how simple and fast, doing it every single day would probably get fucking tiring.
Dude, I remember, like, I'll do like Naked Snake for Halloween, and I'll put like black, do the skull makeup or whatever. Really fun. That shit don't come off easy, man. Like, I definitely have gone to work the next day on a Halloween and had like mascara guy liner around my eyes, or like it gets under your fingernails and you're kind of like trying to like chisel it out the next day. Like there's got to be like, they've been like buying like smokes at the gas station and like had a smudge and been like, oh,
Yeah, you would think, man. There's no way.
Working on an engine earlier. Sorry.
Because it's got to be resilient enough where it doesn't just come off when you sweat, right?
I guess so. There's footage of and pictures of him out there specifically because he's open chesty, where it's like it's wearing off. Like he's definitely a white guy,
right?
And you can kind of see that it is. I don't know if he just put a quick job on or didn't want to cover up all the way, or
right.
If it legitimately like he sweated it off, would make perfect sense.
And then after the show you go straight to the showers, try and get all that off, and then the next day, like, when do you begin lathering? And what is it?
I don't even know.
What if you run
I have
out?
to wonder.
You Amazon Prime some more black goo to your fucking trailer.
Yeah, some of that sleep token lotion. I gotta wonder if their shows are like close enough together. If they don't just like, I'm just gonna rock with it. Yeah. He's the only one that I see wearing the paint, especially like on his face and on his body and stuff. Maybe the other ones are like just
they're more
mask and
masky.
gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably, if you pull their mask off, they're probably just like plain face. But
I wonder if he blacks his whole face, or if because the mask is kind of like from nose down, so maybe it's just.
I want to say there's, again, like I've been on the sleep token kick. There's a video of him kind of thrashing around, and he wears that hood, right?
Yeah.
There's a hood that covers the white kind of torn up mask or whatever, but he turns it such a way where you can see his ear, and his ear is not covered. So I believe it's probably, I'm going to guess whole face, because when you look into the eye holes, it's just blackness, right? So I'm going to guess whole face, neck on down, but probably like scalp and ears. He's probably letting those fly.
Man,
are you sleuthing right now?
I am. I'm looking at his. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you can kind of it's pointy, like this. It's kind of the shape of like a handlebar mustache around his mouth.
Yeah, literally like hanging over his top lip. Like that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. How that I think, was it you when we initially talked about him who asked if maybe he records with the mask on?
Yeah, I think so. That's not, because it sounds, some of the stuff like on the record sounds like we were talking about earlier, kind of like it's almost restricted, or like his teeth are kind of gritted together, you know. Maybe he does just so it sounds, because his live stuff sounds very much like the record. There's not a big difference there.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy. You were talking about before, this will be the last sleep token bit, but I do kind of want to share this on pod, and I haven't seen any footage of this yet, but Sleep Token was in Dallas a couple of nights ago, and they have a song called Rain, which is a banger, and you were telling me it started raining when they played Rain. That's incredible, dude.
It is cool. So there's there's a website here called the Dallas Observer, and like when big shows come through, they'll send a reporter and then they'll write up a little whatever, like a paragraph or like a column about the show or whatever, and his title or headline said something along the lines of, I don't even remember how he said it, but it was something implying like it rained during that song, and I read the whole thing. It was cool. And then I was scrolling YouTube one day, and there's video of people that are, it's like an amphitheater. So half of it, you're undercover, right? All the seats in the pit are undercover. And then there's the lawn, and there's videos of people out in the lawn that were like recording the entire song, not even just like when it started raining. And as it's building up in the background, you can see lightning, like it's just lighting up the sky. And then when the chorus starts, you can see the rain, dude, and like the swell of the song coincides with rain falling from the sky, and everybody goes crazy in the crowd, man. It's really like bone chilling. It's really cool.
That man, what a treat that would have been.
I know. I'll find it. I'll send it to you so you may enjoy.
Anyway, to put a bow on it, heavy music, which is something that I really love. We really love.
Yep.
Having a moment right now. Very exciting. I'm eager to see what else is going to come out of this and how this is going to shape. Even like pop music. I feel like pop music is starting to open its doors to detuned guitars and really like, aggressive sounding music in this very interesting way, man.
Polaris is another one. They kind of fell off a little bit, but I feel like they were one of those that they were on a pretty steady rise a couple years ago, like even before all the stuff currently that's going on. They kind of blew up through COVID, and they've got some really heavy stuff. They've got some really melodic stuff, and so I kind of put them in that category too.
Yeah, I love Polaris. Still a Veil of Maya fan. I think their choruses, man, are just undefeated to me. Trying to think of who else. Gravemind is one that I keep coming back to as well. I think I shared a Gravemind track with you last week.
Yeah, it was with the Polaris.
The Polaris guy. Yeah. A lot of great bands. Man.
Go heavy music.
Congrats. Go heavy music. All right.
Okay. Do you want to
doing write-ins?
Yeah, we do a couple write-ins.
All right.
Where is this? Oh, Brad Rules put a little thing in here, said, "Did you hear?" And it's Lorna Shore, Whitechapel, Kublai Khan, Tex, and some band named Sanguisugabog.
Oh, Sanguisugabog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never heard that. Anyways, they're coming through Dallas on October 5th. Kublai Khan.
We should go.
Kind of cool, yeah.
Go
Oklahoma
see the
City, September 29th. We could hit either one.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't know. OKC is kind of bad luck.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's go.
We're 2 for
to
2 on those shows getting fucked up.
Let's see if you could have viewers listen. Okay, I think I found where we were last. I'll start it, and then we can just keep going until we don't want to go anymore.
All right.
If you go up to, are you on the questions?
I'm not. Here, hang on.
Okay.
I am now.
All right. So if you go up to, it's 422. It's a cool boy one. I wonder, do you think we should do it? Like just keep going like that, or do some newer ones? What do you think?
I'm going to try to hit some non-cool boy ones.
Okay.
We read his a lot.
We can start with new and work backwards then, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
We can find some of those if we need to dip into some older ones.
Damn, the E-Wolf one on the very tippy top is actually not a bad one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Start with that.
You ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do a couple questions, couple write-ins here. If you go to our Discord link in the description, there is a channel on our Discord called Questions for Podcast. If you go in there and you drop us a question, drop us a line, give us a problem statement to solve, you might get read.
You might get read.
I haven't figured out a seamless way to tee you up for that.
You know what? If I'd pay more attention, then maybe it would be fine. That was like me during the sound check earlier when I was in fucking La La Land.
There were several weeks where I was teeing it up, and then you would eke in with, "You might get read." And I was like, ooh, I like that. I want to set him up for that. And I feel like ever since I've been trying, you're like, oh, yeah. Yep, you might get read. It's all right. No, you can't. It's got to be
all
organic.
Natural. Yeah.
All natty. eWolf019 asks 2 questions, 2 for the price of 1. What is the most memorable concert you guys have ever been to? And if you could see any band, members alive or dead, who would it be? I'll kick it to you first, Cody.
Man, the most memorable. Ow! I just shook my whole desk with that.
I hate that. I hate that.
The most memorable is tough, man. It's really tough. I'm going to have to say, I'm not going to mention Metallica because very much like if I was talking about my favorite bands, they're just kind of on the tippy top. So then I might just mention another one because they're just like, you can't give the MVP to the same guy every year. You got to give it to different people. So they're solidified at the top. So I'm not going to say Metallica show. I think the most memorable might be the Dillinger Escape Plan when they did their very last tour through town. I went by myself, like the Knocked Loose show. Back in the day, my friends didn't listen to heavy music, so if I wanted to go to a hardcore show, I just had to go.
Ride solo.
And I would. That wasn't stopping me. So Dillinger Escape Plan, they played at Trees in Deep Ellum, and I've never seen a more chaotic show in my entire life. At one point, I remember I was standing towards the back taking a video, and the strobe lights were in such a way where all you could see was just like the profiles of things, and you saw more feet flashing across the screen than like heads, like people just upside down tumbling crazy. And I crowd surfed at that show and got thrown up on the stage and had my arm around Greg at one point in the middle of a song, and then ran and dove backwards back into the crowd. And at the end of that show, he was just telling everybody to come get up on stage. So like on the last song, it was just 50 people up on stage with the band as the band's closing out. And it was their last tour. Like that was, not the last show of that tour, but it was the last tour. It was unforgettable, man. It was so cool.
That definitely, I think we might have seen the same tour.
Yes.
Because I caught that one in Portland, Oregon.
I called you right after that show. I was revved up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a really good show. All right. Perfect show, Dead or Alive members.
Oh, man. Perfect show. Who have I not seen? I feel like there's a band that
Or I guess we'll expand that to like maybe a band that's broken up.
I'd really like to see Every Time I Die Again.
You took my answer.
Okay. Not that one.
It's okay. You can have that. You can have it.
I don't know, man. I'm still heartbroken over that. So the fact that I'm never going to get to see that band ever again is really sad to me.
It's a sore spot for sure. I think my most memorable, Dillinger obviously was insane. I'm glad I got to do that. I think my most I'm going to give an honorable mention to The Chariot, who I saw in 2009 at Cornerstone, which was a music festival that doesn't exist anymore. That was one of the loudest concerts, and it was in a tent, and they had pyro. I thought they were going to catch the tent on fire. There's footage from that show in their video for Teach, actually. I'm not in it or anything, but I was at that show, and you can see that it is just... The Chariot was such a violent band, man. Like, they really were... And they were billed as a Christian band. I don't know, like, lyrically or behaviorally, they never did anything that was, like, overtly, like...
Right.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. They were one of the best chaotic hardcore bands to do it, man.
Right.
Hands down. Regardless of your thoughts on that. So I'll throw one up for The Chariot, but probably my most rare loot concert experiences was actually at Cornerstone a couple years prior to that. Norma Jean was playing. It was in 2006. There's like a horse flying around here. Get out of here. Norma Jean in like 2006. So they just come out with, or they were about to come out with Redeemer.
Okay.
So they were about to do their second album with Corey Brandon. But anyway, they're at Cornerstone, which everyone's at Cornerstone at this point, right? And they start Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste. Josh Scoggin, the original Norma Jean vocalist, comes out and he sings it with them. And then the end of Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste, where the dude from Me Without You does his like really like weird poetic like yelling guy thing. He comes out and does that. So I got to see Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste by Norma Jean, which is arguably their most famous song.
Yeah.
Performed by both Norma Jean vocalists, including the guest feature from the Me Without You guy.
That's really cool.
So that was absolutely bananas to see in real life. Probably never going to see anything that cool ever again. But yeah. Yeah, I would probably also say Every Time I Die, which no one died, but that band breaking up was very public. It was very painful. As you know, for me and Cody, it was one of my favorite bands. I'm fairly certain it was Cody's favorite band, at least was for a long time. You want to talk about a band that just never really cut a weak album.
Right.
There's something for me on every single one of their albums. No sleepers in the bunch. For them to have the falling out they did, especially with Radical. Like, Radical is probably one of my favorite albums that they came out with.
Yeah.
And it was their last album, and it was literally the last thing that they did as a band. Like, they put that album out, and months later they were done.
I will get pulled back into that album once a year, maybe. Once a little.
Yeah.
It is good, man. It is so good.
It is. It was hard to go back to for a while, but anyway, outside of that, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm not even like asking for anyone to be brought back to life or anything necessarily, but watching that footage of the 88 Metallica performance in Seattle.
Yeah.
Just how cool it would have been to be at a show in general back in that time.
Yeah.
And just to go see what bands were playing. Yeah, back in the late 80s, early 90s, like, that show absolutely, obviously, would be massive. But, you know, just to be in the music scene back then, I think, you know, especially as someone who loves heavy music specifically, that would have been fascinating. Absolutely. It's very weirdly, like, liminal watching that footage of them, because it's been up-resed to the point where it doesn't look like it was filmed 40 years ago or 30 years ago. But yeah, I'd go back to that. All right, long answer to a short question, but a very good one. Thank you, E-Wolf, for that one. Let's see. Edward Pello asks, Magic the Gathering, yes or no? And I think the answer to this one's going to be short and rather disappointing. Neither Cody and I are big Magic the Gathering players.
Yeah, I'm aware of its existence. And that's kind of where it ends for me, unfortunately. I think that's the second time. If I'm not mistaken, that's not the first time. I'm scrolling through our questions. Oh, thoughts on Magic the Gathering from Riley Kobo 605. So
the people want to know.
They want to know about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. It was cards, right? It was like...
Yeah, it's like a card. A lot of people collect them, and then you can kind of battle them out, as with like... maybe Pokemon as well. But
I was Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. Young Cody. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh.
You did Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, man.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh was cool.
Huh.
Get an Exodia, the Forbidden One, left arm or something.
All right, let's see. I think we got one more here. Trying to find. Let's see. Trying to find one we haven't done. God, it's hot in this room. I was telling Cody before we started the pod, I always manage to land my office in the hottest room in the house, and I've successfully done this again. So,
need you a fan, dude.
I do need a fan. Well, I've got the ceiling fan going, and I don't want to crank it too hard because then it'll blow on the mic. All right. Here's a good one. One last one from Brad Rules, frequent writer here. Thanks, Brad Rules, for writing in again. Not sure who to direct this to, so to both of us. Do you prefer a silent, angry drive home after a hard day, or music blasting in an attempt to mute your own screams? Man, that's actually a really good question. I think what he's asking, I'll rephrase the question. When you drive home after maybe a hard day at work, are you blasting music, or are we just listening to the sound of the tires caressing the road?
This is kind of weird. I actually love a silent car ride. It kind of depends on the scenario. If we're talking about at the end of a day after a long day, I don't need additional stimulation at that point. I'm going to opt for silence. I'm not afraid to be in my own head. I think a lot of people need like sound and noise and stimulation just to like not be alone with yourself in your head. I love that, man. Any time to do nothing except just kind of get like lost in my mind, I'm cool with that. And so a long car ride or even just a commute home in silence can work wonders, man. I feel like I've come up with some good ideas, had some crazy thoughts, like good things happen when you just sit in silence. I would not be afraid of that.
Definitely. I'm the same way. I think if I am putting on music, it's because I actively feel good. And I want to hear music. The only time where music's like not negotiable is at the gym.
Yes.
There will be music. I have straight up pulled up to the gym, realized I didn't have my headphones, and got back in my car to go get them.
Absolutely.
Non-negotiable. But for the drive home, especially if it's been a rough day, I do think I want quiet. I'm with Cody on that one firmly. A lot of times when I'm driving in, depending on what I'm doing, I don't know if you do this. I will talk to myself sometimes. I will rehearse a conversation, this is odd, and I'm sure anyone like driving next to me is like, why is that guy talking to himself? My hope is that they'll think I'm on the phone and I'm having an actual conversation with a human. But often I do a lot of talking to myself. If I have a good idea for like a bit or a video, also I will maybe kind of talk that out and act through it a little bit and kind of work out the jokes a little bit and kind of work out the rise and fall of my voice. A silent car ride is not a problem for me.
The music is what I will do on the way to something, to get pumped up to go do something. But on the wind down or the come down, I'm picking silence. Yeah,
I think so. Unless I have a song on my mind, like lately, I've been on a big sleep token kick, so I'm like, I get in the car and I'm actively like, yep, putting that on. So,
have you listened to Chokehold much, or since that was like the first one, have you kind of gotten into like the other ones more?
It's a great song, and it was definitely the first song that I got really like stuck on. It's kind of short, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I have kind of moved on to the next chapter of this album, which is weird because it's just like whatever 8, 9, 10 songs. I don't know. I don't like when you listen to the last song, Euclid, and it's over. And Chokehold starts playing, I kind of just like back.
Yeah.
Back it up to the start of the final third and just run that back. So still a great song. I mean, Chokehold, undefeated for sure. It was kind of my first it's the first song you hear on that album.
Right.
And, it's your initial impression of the band typically right now. The gear shift from that to the second song was pretty jarring at first, and I think we both were lukewarm on it initially because of the gear shift. Now coming back to them, it's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album, but I like other tracks more now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's got bumped.
Plenty of Sleep Token this episode. If you like Sleep Token, you're going to love this episode.
Yeah. Or you hated it if you don't like Sleep Token, but we don't care because we talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Get your own show if you don't like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, get your own podcast. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you for everyone who wrote in. Again, there's a link in the Discord. Questions for podcasts. Go drop us something in there. We'd love to read it on the show. If you're watching the show on YouTube, do us a favor. Subscribe. If you're not subscribed, turn that little ding-a-ling bell on
man.
So you get alerts. We post once or twice a week. We get fresh, hot episodes for you guys.
Haven't skipped a beat.
And then
reliability. That's one. When you think reliability, you think the hard point. You think Josh and Cody.
The podcast you can trust, the hard point. We will have an episode for you on time. Haven't missed a beat. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a star rating, write a review, tell us what you think of the show. Even if you don't like the show, that's fine. Even a poor review somehow works in our favor.
Really?
So, yeah. If you get reviews, that's engagement, and it pushes you to the top of the deck.
All right.
Yeah.
In your fucking face, Oklahoma City.
Oh. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the NBA championships. So I am officially like an Oklahoman. I grew up in Texas. I liked the Mavericks growing up, but I thought, I'll cheer for the Thunder this year since I live in Oklahoma and they're going against the Mavs. That was a bad idea because they did not win. So it looked like it was going to be tight there for a second, but I think y'all hit some last-minute threes.
It was, man. It was a 1-point game. We won by 1 point.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy. I was so hyped last night.
Nickels and dimes, baby.
The Stars and the Mavericks both closed it out in the same weekend. Great sports weekend for the DFW.
Dallas sports looking good. Maybe the Rangers and the Cowboys can clutch.
Rangers
All
did
right.
their job. They just need the fucking circus show Cowboys to do something. All right.
Yeah, that's true. We need championships all around for Dallas this year. If the Rangers run back a World Series, that'll be wild. Not likely.
If the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, I will take my pants off on screen.
There you have it, folks. 19 May 2024, episode 28 of the Hardpoint podcast, hosted by Onexpunchxdad and Code Romes. Code Romes agrees that if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, which again, not likely, he's going to take his pants off on camera. Yeah, I think you're perfectly safe. But the odds of it happening are not zero. So
It's true. I may have to.
Probably not a lot higher than zero, but they're not zero. Thank you guys for listening. You guys are great. We'll see you next week. Adios, amigos.
See ya.
Oh, yeah, Baja blessings. Oh, shit. I forgot. Bye.
Bye.